Welcome to the session on improvements in Outlook Calendar. I think some of you showed up for the tail end. I was just presenting it for some folks who, there was a gap in the schedule and I presented it quickly for some folks who were waiting. My name's Paul. I work on the Outlook Calendar team. And I'm going to be talking to you today about how we're integrating Cortana into Outlook to provide a lot of intelligent location into your calendar. Now you might ask, how does that benefit me as a user? Two ways. So we're going to make locations intelligent in calendar so that it's easy for you to add a place when you're scheduling an appointment or a meeting. And then once you've got that location in your calendar, the second thing that we're going to help you to do is make sure that you remember to show up on time for that appointment. So we're going to give you some notifications. So I'm going to walk through a series of demos to show you this. But before I get started, I wanted to highlight, if you have some burning questions about Outlook Calendar or Outlook in general, there's a bunch of sessions that we're having at Ignite that will let you ask and answer those questions. Just wanted to highlight two. Today at 12:30 we have the Outlook panel. I'm not sure what location it is. I'll show this slide at the end so you can check it if you don't already have it on your schedule. And then the other session that you don't want to miss is the calendar breakout session on Thursday morning. So Julia Ferran's going to be leading that. She's been at Ignite's past. It's a 75-minute session. It's going to cover a wide range of topics: calendar sharing, free busy caching, all sorts of improvements that are going in the calendar, including the things that I'm going to talk to you here. So don't miss that. But without further ado, let's get to the demos on intelligent location. So I've recorded all these demos just so that the demo gods smile on me here and we can get through it in 20 minutes. You'll notice that these demos are using Outlook for Web. But I want to assure you that we're doing this work in the location well across all the Outlook clients, all of them. So this is just to highlight the functionality. So in my demo here, I'm creating a meetup. So I'm going to set it for 2 o'clock this coming Saturday. I'll tell you why I picked Saturday in just a moment. And then I'm going to go to the location well, which is typically a dumb well that just lets you type in a text location. But you can see here when I tapped in that, I got a bunch of locations that I can just enter easily. So let me go through a couple of these. The first one is just a text location that I've previously entered in the calendar. It's Team Room 313. It's a shared room that's near our offices. I don't have to schedule it. And so I love that room because if I only have an hour before the meeting, I can schedule it, put this location, I don't get bumped by somebody else who's trying to schedule it. The second room, though, you might be more familiar with in your organizations. It's a true room mailbox. And this is the conference room that I schedule the most in my calendar. It's down the hall. It's got great equipment, great setup. And it's telling me here in the suggestions that it's available. So this is integrated with Free Busy. If you go to the bottom of the list, there's a third type of location. We've got text, room, and then the third one is what we call a named location. So you see they have a little inset map, and there are two locations that I previously scheduled. One is CenturyLink Field, which is the home of the Seahawks and the Sounders back in Seattle. I've taken my kids to games there on the weekend. And then the other one is a Pizza Hut that my kids love to go to. I don't know why, but they love to go to it, and especially when mom's gone. So we've gone there occasionally on the weekends as well. And I actually put that stuff into my calendar. I put everything into my calendar. You might be wondering why those last two suggestions would actually show up on my work calendar. Well, as I said, I'm one of those people that merges all my personal appointments and my work appointments in one calendar. I know a lot of people keep them separate. And that's okay. Actually, this location functionality works not only in Office 365, but the Bing part of it works in Outlook.com as well. But the thing I wanted to highlight here is it would have been easy for us to build a frequently used location well that just did the last 10 or 20 locations that you had. This is an example, though, of a location suggestion at the bottom there. Those two, I only schedule them on the weekend, which is why they come up when I start making an appointment on Saturday. So if I clicked on a work day, I wouldn't see any of these personal appointment locations. So Cortana makes us a bit smarter with respect to when we schedule particular locations. All right, so We've talked about them being contextual and based on the time of day I tend to schedule that location. Let me show you another context that we put in. Let's say I want to schedule a meeting. In this case, I'm going to schedule it with Julia, who's doing the talk on Thursday. And once I do that, if I go to the location well, you notice I don't get the same set of locations because I don't tend to take Julia to Pizza Hut, and I don't take her to Seahawks games either. But I do tend to meet with her in my office, like I do with other team members. We have one-on-ones. And so you can see, again, that trio of when, where, and who all factors into the suggested locations that you get. All right, so these are locations I've previously used. What if I wanted to find a location and add one that I'd never used before? So in this case, I'm going to take Julia off the meeting, and I'm going to try to, since I'm in Orlando, keeping with the theme in the demo, I'm going to try to find a pizza place. So I type in pizza, and you notice that the first result I get was the one we saw before at the top, the Pizza Hut in Redmond, back in Washington. But the other four at the bottom are all backfilled Bing suggestions looking for Pizza Huts or pizza near me in Orlando. So it's taking account of my current location. So let's say that I decide to choose one of those Orlando Pizza Huts. So I add that as a location. And you see when I select it, it resolves it kind of in the same way that you do with a recipient when you're in the to line typing a mail. And actually, if I tapped in the well, backspaced, it would delete just like a recipient on a mail. But in this case, I want to find out a little bit more information about it. So just the same way that you have a people card when you tap on a person, we give you a location card with an inset map, a little bit more information about the location. And frequently what you want to do with a location in your calendar is get directions to it. I don't know my way around Orlando, so I'm going to tap on the arrow up above and get directions. So because this is a web experience, we're taking you to Bing to search for locations. But if you were on your mobile device, you know, we would take you directly to your favorite mapping app. You get directions the way you always do. Okay, so let's get rid of directions. And then let's look for, instead of a place to eat, let's look for a conference room. Oop, went a little fast. Let me restart that. All right, so we're going to remove the restaurant location. And this time I don't want that conference room that came up last time. I'm looking for a particular conference room. I'm going to have an online meeting with some folks in another building. So I want a room in my building, a room in their building as well. So I start typing in conference room 32, and you can see I get suggestions for available conference rooms in my building. These are all locations that I have previously scheduled. And you can see I'm only getting the ones that are available. So this is simple, and there's a little bit of magic that we're doing under the covers to make this happen fast. So you notice it only took like about a second or less to get that. For the rooms that you frequently schedule, we're actually caching free busy right there in your mailbox so that it's a really quick lookup of available rooms. Now, if you were going to find a room that you'd never been to before, that might take a little bit longer. I'll show you that in a moment. But in this case, I select the room. And then I'm going to select the one that has this video equipment that I need. And it's a little bit hard to see. There's an info bar at the top that's really hard to read, but it's saying that that room has a Skype room system in it. So would I like to add online meeting information to it? And that's exactly what I want to do. So I don't know how many of you have seen this before, but in Outlook on the web, when you go to add the Skype meeting information, we do a nice little thing for you. We don't immediately dump all that stuff into the body of the meeting. So if I scroll up, take a look at the bottom there. If I want to type in an agenda or note to people that are attending, it's easy to do that. And then when I send the invite, that's when all the Skype meeting information gets added. So good. So I've got a room, I've got a Skype meeting, and the last thing I want to do is go get a room in the other building where those other attendees are. So I'm going to tap again in the location well. And this time you're going to notice at the bottom, I'm not going to pick one of the suggested rooms. I'm going to go down to add room, and this is very similar to the functionality that you have over in the Room Finder add-in in desktop. It's giving me all the available conference room in my building. I actually don't want that, so it happened kind of quickly, but you might have seen choose new room list at the bottom. So I tapped on that. I get a list of all the buildings at Microsoft, and there's a lot. So I'm going to scroll up, and I'm going to look for Bravern. That's the building in Bellevue where the other attendees are. I'm going to select the top half of that building because there's a lot of conference room in the whole building. I get all the available rooms. I want a Skype room. And now with just a few clicks here, I've gotten 2 conference rooms, added the Skype info, and I'm ready to have my meeting. And you can see there on the attendees, there's kind of that double confirmation that those rooms are actually free. All right, so again, to highlight, here's a screenshot of what we're actively working on right now to do this functionality in the Windows client as well as Outlook for mobile. I don't have a demo for those just yet. And here's the timeline for delivering this. So we're going to finish that conference room scheduling that you saw on the web this quarter. Again, if you go right now to Outlook.com or Office 365, you can get the Bing suggestions already in the location well. We're going to finish the work for the other clients, Windows, Mac, iOS, next quarter, and then Android will follow. And as always, depending on whether you're using the monthly channel or the deferred channel for getting desktop, you'll get it sooner versus later. All right, so that was all we had to show you on finding a location quickly. Now let me show you the second part. Oh, before I do that, one quick word about how we do this, if you're interested. Each of the Outlook apps is not implementing this feature on their own. We have a service in the cloud that crawls your calendar. It's called the Location Assistance Service. It does all that smarts and kind of indexes all the locations you could probably use. Caches FreeBusy for conference rooms that you care about. And it's available to all the clients. So it's kind of that, if you want to think of your calendar location graph in the cloud, that's what we're building. All right, so let's talk about the second thing that Intelligent Location is going to help you with, and that is getting to your appointments on time. So another thing that we're in the process of doing on the mobile device is integrating Cortana to give you smart notifications of when it's time to leave for your appointment. You've seen this probably elsewhere. You may be familiar with this feature actually on Windows 10 devices, but we're bringing this to Outlook Mobile on iOS and Android eventually. And the idea is today, when you get an event notification on your phone for a calendar event, it's always time-based, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you set the reminder for. But what we really want to do is give you that heads up about how long it's going to take you from your current location to the next location on your calendar. And maybe with even 10 minutes to spare, so you can pack up whatever you're doing and get out the door. So here's an example of what that experience would be like. A user chooses a named location with an address, and then as the appointment approaches, depending on whether you're using your car to travel or you decide you want Cortana to use public transportation, we'll give you a heads up, and you can get out the door in time to get to your workout or whatever it is you need to get to. This will work great with name locations, but there's actually one other type of location that Cortana is going to help you with, which is even more helpful, I think, and that's inferred locations. So if you think about all the things that you put on your calendar today, often if it's a location you commonly visit, you don't put an address in. Things like home or work, your kid's preschool, the gym, you just know where those things are. You need to get there, but you don't put the address in. So what Cortana will do, if you, as a user, opt into letting Outlook track your location on the device, is over time it'll figure out which of these text locations that you've entered in your calendar actually corresponds to a real geographic location. Cortana will write that location back into the calendar event, and then we'll use that to send you a time to leave notification. So this is great. So I actually think I probably have more events like this than I do ones with addresses in my calendar. So I'm really looking forward to this. And you'll be able to edit these inferred locations, change the label to what you like and the exact address if it wasn't inferred exactly right. Great. Okay, so we talked about those two things that will help you with Intelligent Calendar. I wanted to end the session talking about a few things that we're looking forward to, we're exploring right now with respect to location and calendar. One is conference room search. We're not done. We still think that there's a bit more that we could do. It was a little awkward for me to scroll through that list of buildings. In a large organization, you can have dozens or even a couple hundred buildings. So we want to make it really easy to type in your building location and start getting room suggestions right away. So we're going to improve on that. The other thing is, you notice the equipment that I was interested in. Microsoft puts that in the title, the name of the room. We actually want to take advantage of room schema that's available and help users search for particular equipment or attributes of the room that they care about. I had to know that and look at it in the name. In our demo, we want to do better. And the last thing that I think that we've heard from customers is they'd really like us to suggest locations to users that have the appropriate capacity. So don't suggest an 18-person room if there's only 3 attendees on the meeting. So again, that's information we have available in the AD. If you set it, we want to take advantage of that. And then last but not least, Outlook's always been good at single meeting scheduling assistance, but we don't really help you out very much on recurring meetings. And so we'd like to start helping you, especially with rooms, when you're scheduling a recurring meeting. That first couple weeks is often highly conflicted because that's when all the single meetings are scheduled. So we'd like to give you a little bit of conflict assistance. And then the other thing that often happens to people is when they schedule the room initially, the resource booking assistant that accepts your request on behalf of the room often forces a 6-month or 1 year or 3-year limit depending on your organization's policy. And then if you need to have the meeting longer, you're kind of in a difficult situation and people have all sorts of workarounds to extend the meeting. We want to make it very easy for you to extend the meeting without having to do more. So if you want a meeting that goes forever and your organization allows it, we're going to work to enable that. So. And that is the end of the session. I put here the other talks that I mentioned at the beginning. Happy to stay afterwards and answer questions. I'll also be down at the Outlook booth this afternoon for additional questions. Thanks.